Hey folks, MasakoX here. Yes, okay. This next part is so long in the making, this what if was last made in the before times. Nevertheless, I am back with this next part, and what I would like to talk to you about today is the idea of Gohan getting a little bit more of a boost than you saw in the original Dragon Ball Z. In the last part though, if you can remember, Frieza had had a much harder time of things whilst on Namek. His patience was wearing extremely thin, as his quest for the Dragon Balls were a lot more arduous than in the original story. Thanks to Vegeta towing the line more in this story, supposedly, his help had been very important in gathering the Dragon Balls long before Frieza could. But as we know, Vegeta could easily cross them at any time, and the Ginyu Force had been summoned to take on the Dragon Team, and that is enough to spread fear throughout the prince's face and Rumble himself. But little did he know that he didn't need to. Dende never trusted him, after Guru had read the prince's mind earlier, and purposefully dawdled to allow the Ginyu Force to meet the prince. Karma. And oh yeah, Bulma ain't shacking up with him this time around. She don't date schemers. But the prince gets over this with Goku in tow, and thanks to their gains, less than Gohan's, but Gohan being around helped, the Ginyus were nothing but paper tigers in this series. Two of the wishes were ultimately granted, them used to revive Piccolo and by proxy Kami, and to bring the former to Namek. But then Frieza decided to turn up. However, he wouldn't like what they wished for the third wish. You see, Dende had been rather crafty, and whilst Frieza was waffling on, he had quietly granted power buffs for his friends and even Vegeta. They didn't gain powers per se, but their energy had been restored to full. And if you were a monkey or part monkey, you would have gotten a free Zenkai out of it too in the process. The very reason that Frieza had come to this backwater of a world had now been taken away from him before his very eyes. Yeah, I'm sure you can imagine that he was kind of upset about that, but he did try his best to keep his cool, since there was a power amongst them that exceeded his current level. Not bad. You are a wily lot, I will give you that. However, I am afraid that your good luck has run out. Since you have decided to thwart my plan, I have no choice but to eviscerate you all. It's no hard feelings, but... Oh, who am I kidding? It's the hardest of feelings you could imagine. Tell me who has that power, or I will blow up this planet right now. As you know, Vegeta, I am a rather dab hand at that sort of thing. Vegeta then exclaimed. So you admit it then? You destroyed our... But Frieza rolled his eyes. Yes, of course I did. One of the worst kept secrets around you monkeys, if you ask me. You always knew. You did well, though, to keep it to yourselves. I know that it isn't you who possesses this power. You'd have done something about it by now. Silence then permeated through the scene. Nobody was willing to admit owning that power. Goku was looking perturbed in Gohan's direction, almost sort of willing him to step forward and fess up. But the boy was far too nervous to do it. Only 6. But he needn't have bothered, though. Frieza saw the glare and looked to Gohan, and then chuckled before letting out a guffaw. Are you serious? Not only are you all a bunch of cowards, but you are willing for the brat to go down to take the fall for that power? It's rather farcical at the best of times, but on top of that, it's downright pathetic. All right, I'll bite. You boy, come here. He beckoned Gohan over to him. Gohan was feeling so alone right now. He was only a little boy, and yet he was being relied upon so much because of a power he didn't necessarily want. You thought the Cell Games bit was bad for Gohan. Wait till you see this. It wasn't exactly his choice to become a Super Saiyan. It was by chemical chance and emotional upheaval. Now, the Emperor of the Galaxy was about to make a joke of him, or worse, end his life. Did he have a chance? Really? Goku was looking seriously at his son, willing him on in silence to do the deed and kill Frieza, because
Come on, Gohan, I know it. I believe in you. No, 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 no.
The rest of the Dragon team, including Dende, were horrified at Goku not helping his own kid, despite Gohan having this potential. Krillin was trying to pluck up the courage to chew out his best friend, but the sight of Frieza was enough to hold the duck's tongue. After all, he was so perceptive of cues that an errant whisper in the wrong direction could lead to him being blown up. And as we know, Krillin doesn't like being blown up. Gohan had no choice but to walk forward and stand in front of Frieza, 3 feet away from the tyrant. He looked down at the kid and seemed unimpressed. He checked his scouter, Frieza, and awaited confirmation of this power. But the 675,000 never showed. Sure, the wish had buffed up Gohan's energy a little bit with Zenkai, but still. 40,000? That's hardly a stirring number. Granted, you probably could have given Gulda a rough time, but 40,000? Please, do you take me for a fool? All of you? But Gohan was stunned. 40,000? That was way more than what Guru had given him. How did that happen? Was it the wish, perhaps? What was it that Vegeta mentioned a while back in passing? How Saiyans can get stronger after extreme exertion? Is this the Saiyan power at work? Now that that factoid had fallen into his mind, the fear started to wash away, and in came the bookworm. Because turning Super Saiyan in a young body such as his was quite the trial, much more so than it would have been if his dad or Vegeta could have done it. Yes, that would lessen with experience and age over time, but for now, this revelation in the kid's mind was a blessing. If he did the calculations right, and Gohan liked doing calculations, he could win this. He relaxed, his tense muscles easing, and Frieza picked up on this. Have you finally grown a spine, brat? I don't see why you have. You are woefully underpowered before me. How do you expect to stand up to me, let alone defeat me? Was that your intent? Gohan gritted his teeth and looked at the Emperor with said intent.
Yeah, I'm gonna defeat you.
He let out a roar, and to much surprise, even to himself, he powered up to Super Saiyan with the least amount of difficulty that he had ever felt since acquiring the power. Instantly, the scouter's readout began to rise and rise before the device exploded into pieces at the 1 million mark. Frieza was floored. The kid wasn't making this up. But as that was going on, Piccolo was busy making his way to the voice's location, as well as its power. Yes, it wasn't as large as the one that had erupted over there, where Gohan was, but it was still his desire to find out more about Namekians, Piccolo. The boy could take care of things, he thought anyway. A couple of minutes later, he was at a tower, where a small palace was residing. He walked inside and spotted 2 Namekians, one large and seated, and the other similar in stature to himself.
So, you're the voice I heard?
Nail nodded.
Correct. You must be Piccolo. Young Gohan talked about you. I'm glad to see that Porunga had successfully brought you here. Yeah, but for what? I'm not exactly strong enough to help out whatever's going on over there. Besides, I want to find out more about you Namekians. I had no idea they were a thing until a short Saiyan jabbered on about them.
Nail smiled.
Vegeta?
Piccolo nodded.
Yeah, him. Welcome, Piccolo. I am so pleased to see one of our kind find themselves. Come here, and I shall explain everything.
He motioned to his side, Nail looking concerned.
Lord Guru, are you sure that's wise? Your power is fading fast. If you exert yourself now, you might...
Guru held his hand up to silence his attendant.
Nail, it's all right. Porunga has done his work. My life is not as necessary now. What is necessary is the safety of our people. And I believe that you two can play some part in our survival.
Piccolo indeed walked over to Guru, and the elder placed his hand on top of our Pickle. Instantly, Piccolo had hundreds of images flash across his mind, like he were downloading almost the entire history of the Namekian people in seconds. It was a lot to take in, but he was starting to feel more complete, like he knew what he was right now. Or at least more than he did just a few seconds ago. Nail watched on with slight trepidation. Was this wise? Probably not. But Guru was right in a way. Then, without warning, Guru unlocked Piccolo's potential. And after it was done, Piccolo leapt back in astonishment.
Ugh! What was that? What did you do to me? Young bully, I unlocked your potential. If you are going to help us, then you need to be at your best. And good. I am pleased to know there are Dragon Balls on your world. Can they help us?
Piccolo thought for a moment.
Yeah, well, they can. I think that's what the plan was. To use our Dragon Balls to bring back anyone who lost their lives here.
Guru smiled before coughing.
Good. Nail! I have one last request of you. I know it is forbidden amongst our clan, but I believe that we have no other option.
My lord, surely you can't be serious. I barely know this one. A fusion between us would spell disaster. Piccolo was bemused for a second, before recalling a snippet from Guru's information dump about Namekians.
Fusion, huh? Combining our bodies into one? I'm not sure if I like that idea myself.
Now thrust his arm in Piccolo's direction. See? Even he has doubts. Please, Lord Guru. Surely there must be another way.
No! The Namekian savior must be powerful enough to protect our people. Granted, we have guests whose powers are mighty, but when they are gone, who will be left to defend us? Frieza's occupation has shown us clearly that we need more. You and Piccolo must fuse!
Guru coughed some more, but Piccolo stood firm.
There's no guarantee that I'll stick around, you know. You'll be left defenseless.
Guru wasn't worried, though.
I know you'll make the right decision. After all, you chose us over your own friends.
Piccolo stopped. Guru was right. He didn't have to listen to that voice that brought him here. In the end, he kind of already made up his mind just by crossing this threshold. The question was, though, who would be the dominant personality? Would there even be a dominant personality? Well, I'm afraid that's where we're going to be leaving things, but just a little bit. Back at the fight, Frieza couldn't believe what he was seeing, or at least what he had just seen. Almost at once, Gohan had vanished, and a split second later, he had reappeared, with his boot in Frieza's face. The Emperor was sent careening for hundreds of feet and came to a stop in a mountain. Where did that come from? Before he could regain his composure, Gohan was on him. He was absolutely relentless. I don't blame him, because Gohan had a lot to get off of his chest. The fear that was him being thrust into battle by his father. The anger at being relied upon too heavily at such a tender age, by all. And of course, the unjust ways that Frieza went about things, but that was relatively low on the pecking order. One thing was for sure, Gohan wasn't going to give him a chance to do anything. Goku and Vegeta were flabbergasted, yet completely unaware as to the real reasoning behind Gohan's rage. Oh, those Saiyans are so ignorant. The prince was seething, though, that he wasn't the one to be decking Frieza's schnoz right now. But something was holding him back from celebrating, too.
Don't be so sure, Kakarot. Your boy is in for a world of pain.
Goku turned to the prince with a sour expression. Oh yeah? Why's that?
Because Frieza can transform too. This power is but a fraction of his true might.
Goku's eyes widened. Gohan had to get this over with, and fast, he thought. Almost on cue, Frieza managed to get some distance from the boy and clapped his approval. Well done, boy. You are the first person to land such heavy blows upon my visage. But think not that you have won the outright scuffle. I have a surprise for you. He then hunkered down, and before Goku could shout to Gohan to "Do it now!" Frieza had transformed into his second form. He loomed over the child and smiled.
Let's see how you fare against this. I clocked you at 1 million before my scouter broke, so this should be enough.
Ah, Frieza. Should really not rely on gadgets like that, you. since you can't sense energy for yourself. Gohan's initial fear had meant that for a short while though, despite his power being indeed double of Second Form Freeza, he was still getting beaten up due to sheer nerves. However, an unlikely ally was about to step in. Enter, well, was it Piccolo? I mean, he had the purple gi, but something was odd about him. His energy felt different, but definitely stronger than before. In fact, it was just as strong as Gohan right now. Piccolo got to business fast. Without hesitation, he began to furiously beat up Frieza, and when Gohan regained his faculties, he joined in as well. With 2 powers exceeding Frieza's, he had no chance. Even when he resorted to his third form, it was still not enough. Sure, he could slow down the kid a bit, they were equal, but the Namekian, whoever that was, always came in with the save. Before he could transform one last time, Piccolo launched a special beam cannon straight into Frieza's heart, stopping the powering up in its tracks. The Emperor fell to his knees.
This cannot be. Lord, please.
Frieza was about to collapse, but Piccolo grabbed the Emperor's head and gazed into his eyes.
You should have left us alone.
Before kicking the tyrant away, and he didn't get back up. Frieza was no more. Gohan powered down and collapsed to the floor, completely flummoxed as to what just happened. Yeah, it was great to see the wish had worked, but Piccolo was odd. He walked over to the Namekian when he gathered his balance and looked up to him.
Mr. Piccolo?
The Namekian looked down, but without much recognition or acknowledgement in his gaze. Like he was distant, that he didn't recognize Gohan. This wasn't right. He was trying to figure out what was going on, Gohan, when Goku then flew over to congratulate his son.
Wow! That was incredible, son! I knew you had it in you!
But Gohan didn't really want to take credit for this. Besides, he was still pretty sore as to how much pressure he was put under in the moment when Frieza first accosted them.
Dad, we need to talk. We can't keep doing this.
Goku was confused at this statement, but then turned to Piccolo, clearly distracted at his former rival's gains.
How did you get so strong, Piccolo? Surely King Kai wasn't that good. Otherwise, I'd have gotten that good before you.
The Namekian stared at the Saiyan. Follow me. Without further words, he flew off. Bemused, the Dragon team naturally followed, unsure as to what they were about to expect. And that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now. If you like this idea of Piccolo gaining potential and the like, check out this story here, where he sought to better himself after letting Gohan down in the Saiyan saga. And I shall see you in the next video. Catch you later!